Look, Bumble knows you're exhausted by dating. All the must not take yourself too seriously and 6'1" since that matters. And what do I even say other than hey? Well, that's why they're introducing an all-new Bumble with exciting features to make compatibility easier, starting the chat better, and dating safer. They've changed, so you don't have to. Download the new Bumble now.
Your brain needs support, and new Ollie Brainy Chews are a delightful way to take care of your cognitive health. Made with scientifically backed ingredients like Thai ginger, L-theanine, and caffeine, Brainy Chews support healthy brain function and help you find your focus, stay chill, or get energized. Be kind to your mind and get these nootropic chews at ollie.com. That's OLLY.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Electricast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Claudia Monticelli, your host for this podcast, Let's Talk Soul. Today, I have a woman with me, a special guest, who's all about soul. Aline Ra M. Say hello to our audience.
Hello, Claudia, and hello, everybody. Super excited to be here today.
She's usually from Sweden, Stockholm, but today she's talking to us from Brazil. Have I got that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm currently visiting my parents in my hometown. Yes.
Aline is a spiritual. I'll just spend a few words introducing her, and then the interview will give us a really clear idea of what she is all about. She's a spiritual teacher, a healer, a mentor, and an author. She guides individuals to establish a direct connection to the divine wisdom. This is what she calls heart-centered spiritual awakening, and we'll pull those words apart in this talk so you can live your purpose with joy. She masterfully and cleverly blends deep insights and will unearth those from her insights about spirituality, but also giving us practical tips that speak directly to authentic spiritual growth in today's modern world. She offers one-to-one coaching and mentorship, online courses, advanced in-person and remote healing sessions, workshops, and more. And I will list under the episode in the description free mini classes that she has, Live from the Heart sessions. So here we are. Aline, well, how are you? First of all, let's start with that.
I am really good. It's a beautiful sunny day here and 2 minutes walk from the beach. So I look forward to later
lovely.
in my day to go for a beach walk.
Oh, lovely, lovely. In this neck of the woods, it's mid-April when we are recording. So it's difficult to have the heat enough to dive in with our whole body, but there are some adventuresome people. Let's start with, how did you get into this type of work, or did it find you? How did that work?
Well, it found me, not necessarily directly and clearly that it was something for me to work on professionally, but definitely found me in a thing that I just needed to work harmoniously in the modern world, something that I just needed to work on myself.
How long ago? Yeah. How long ago did this change happen?
24 years ago. I was 14 years old when I started on my path because I started hearing voices. So it was not the most common way to begin. It was something that I was actually quite scared of when it began. And I started on spirituality from this clear awareness that there was something more. There was something more, and it wasn't exactly pleasant. I was listening, like hearing these voices, and I knew I was not crazy. And I know clearly there was just something in another realm that I needed to work with. So in that sense, it was just like there was something I couldn't escape from,
It's true. When you talk about voices, this is something that it keeps emerging in what I read about you, whispers. You call them whispers, and that's, I think, the key word for us today. When you mentioned that you were afraid, and the fear does it's the first thing that people who are above the age of 10, when it happens, fear sets in because they know more than, say, a 7 or an 8 year old person. When you talk about um, trusting those whispers, what do you mean?
Um, so the voices that I heard at that age were not some things to trust on, actually. Were not the loving whispers. Sometimes I like using whispers because I work a lot with the heart center. And then in that work, it's so much about helping people to trust the whispers of their heart. But we have multiple voices inside of us, and not all of them are loving and caring. And
Sure.
some of those voices that I heard when I was 14 were definitely not loving and caring. They were part of, like, they were not even from me. They were external voices that I just needed to understand how to work with energy at that level.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting when you talk about the voices and the heart, because there's the expression in English, it's a medical condition that people have, heart murmurs. And
beautiful.
it is an irregular heartbeat for which people have sometimes a device on their body. But it's interesting, that word murmur, because they are sounds, actually sounds that the heart gives you. When you mentioned, now you said it twice, this, and they weren't exactly positive voices, but voices that you needed to hear. Do you mean negative energy? Can you describe it better for us?
Yeah, I normally don't talk openly about what those voices were, because that feels like there's so much understanding that is required in terms of energy, as also because I don't want to freak people out. I don't want to freak people out. I think sometimes we miss an understanding from the spiritual world that not everything is love and light. And just and just like in the physical world, like as above, so below. We live in a physical reality with much beauty and much kindness, but we also know that there are things in life that are not exactly for our highest good, and things that hurt us, And it's just this understanding that in the spiritual realm, that duality also exists.
Let's say that duality is part of nature, okay? When you talk about, you've heard the expression, the shadow self, in psychology, when people have to deal with their shadow self, and you heard that expression, the devil made me do it, okay? Now, when you say duality, you know that there is light and darkness, and that's part of nature, right? And that's getting to know both of those sides puts us in a state of equilibrium, really. What you were talking about, I think, goes and tends towards on the scale, the darkness to be a little heavier. Am I right? Because I'm not sure if I'm understanding.
Yeah. In that sense, it wasn't actually my shadows. I do a lot of shadow work and a lot too much with shadows, but there's above and below, within and without. So not everything is from within me and my own shadows. And I mean, I think we all have understood that external energies affect us quite a bit, right? We are in there's energy fields, and there are even as an energy healer, some of the energy sessions that I give to people is negative energy removal and emotional cord cutting. That is this understanding of there are so many more energies than we think there are. And my natural opening as a 14 years old was this understanding that there's something clearly that doesn't want my highest good all the time. And I need to learn how to deal with this. What is this? Of course, I had fear, but I also had a lot of curiosity at that point, because what those energies were showing me is like, life is bigger than you think. Reality is much more complex than you can see. And that took me to start studying it and starting initiatory paths in different lineages.
Can you give me
to learn more?
An example when you talk about life is more complex than we know, and started on an initiatory path? What do you mean by both of those ideas?
Well, sometimes to simplify things, we need to complicate them first. And it's like this
Yes.
ability that I can get a flower, I can take a flower and I can take it into a microscope and analyze it and understand that there's the leaves and that there's like the stalks. There's so many different components that I can understand what makes the flower, and I can make it very complex. But I can also look at it just as a flower, you know? I can simplify it, but I can also dissect it to understand exactly what's going on. So sometimes I can say life is simple because it's more about the perspective that I'm seeing life through. But sometimes if something is not working very well and I need to understand what is not, I might need to dissect it and break it into components and go much deeper into certain aspects, which show a complexity, because things as a whole can be simple, but they are made of so many millions of components inside. So it depends on our intentions, right? Sometimes we need to look at the simplified overall, take a step back and zoom out. And sometimes we need to go all in and really see the small pieces.
So you mentioned spirituality in a modern world, spirituality today. So that means something different to you with regards to another world. What is exactly, what does it mean to you?
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
It is the reminder of what this life is truly about, our mission as a spiritual beings, that we are more than body and mind. Because since we have more things than body and mind, we need to take care of these other parts of us. What happens a lot these days is that we live as if we were only body and mind. So we eat well, we do exercises, and we read, we stimulate our minds, and yet we are never fully fulfilled. And that's because we're not necessarily taking care of our hearts, taking care of our souls, taking care of our spirit, nourishing the different parts of us so that we can come back into harmony.
I'm going to stop you there because I'm wondering, since you're an author, I'm wondering if your writing is part of something that is not our bodies, and, you know, is it something else? What is writing? What does it mean to you?
Yes. So I love writing. For me, I love speaking as well, the articulation, the power of word, how much we can inspire and communicate and connect through it. For me, it's very important. And it's also because language itself is of the mind. So it's a way to connect to people through the mind that they have been using so much, but bringing them into other parts. So we can use the mind in terms of using language, but bring the focus to the heart and to the soul.
So wait. You're going ahead. How many books do you have? Let's go down to practical things now. What was your first, or do you have more than one?
I've launched a book. So I have one book, but I have quite a few ebooks, and I've been writing newsletters weekly for over 5 years. So there's
let's talk
of articles of me.
Let's talk about your first book. Let's talk about this book. When did you get it out? When was it published?
2021, so 3 years ago.
2021. Now, what was was that at the beginning of the COVID period, or
I'm very bad with years in that sense.
Well, you have to think about it as if you were stuck home while you were writing it.
I wasn't, because I was in Sweden and there was no lockdown in Sweden, so that's why for me it's really difficult.
I see. Well, what was the main motivation to put things on paper And you know that when you write, it's really sometimes the pen, the keyboard takes on a mind of its own, and it teaches you so many things. You start with one idea, but the road takes you so many places. How is it in your case? What motivated you to start writing those first words on paper?
So I've been writing for such a long time about spirituality. It's been many years that I've been sending these new letters. So I have this practice of just sharing what is coming through me that wants to be shared through words for a long time.
Okay. So it's an idea.
Personally, I also am highly, I wouldn't say I'm grounded, but I am a quite abstract person in a way. I am a person of ideas, of energy. And I have all these articles on emails, and a part of me just wanted to ground this energy. So it was important to have a physical book to actually put it in reality. For me, it was part of my energetic exercise as well.
Well, can you give us the title of your book?
Yes, it's called Bullshit-Free Mindfulness.
So is that with a hyphen? Bullshit -free?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Bullshit-Free Mindfulness and a common guide for joy in everyday life.
Okay. And can people find this readily?
It's on Amazon, yes.
Okay, on Amazon. Now, you say that, okay, so let's say it was, you were motivated by sharing what you had in your heart and in your mind. Does the book have anything to do with your mini classes, with your one-on-one session, coaching sessions? Do we find things in the book that you work with during your sessions, working with people, either on a one-on-one or in a class session?
Yes, normally in my work with people, there's a mixture between more traditional spiritual practices with spirituality in everyday life. So I do have these two components, depending on the...
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
More traditional practices would be meditation and breath work and different types of visualization, things that are more traditional. Whereas, and also energy work, like moving energy on people's fields and things like that. And by practical spirituality in this sense, I mean, how to see everyday life as part of the spiritual evolution, the different people that are coming with us, the simple act of dancing or singing, what is it that those things are doing to us? So things that are very relatable to regular life,
right.
And which are spiritual. Everything is spiritual. So in this book, I focus more on the second part, the things that we can do in our everyday life that we naturally do, but not necessarily aware of what we're doing or consciously or using those things to bring more joy. So I'm I'm putting my focus
on the bullshit-free mindfulness.
Because I didn't want to have a book that was all theoretical. I feel like we talk too much about things, and it's not about just talking about things. It's actually about doing it and being it and living it. So it's a very practical in that sense.
Let's play here for a while, okay? So you mentioned a 14-year-old. That was the first time where you came into contact with this strong spiritual connection. Let's imagine that there are so many people out there, 14-year-old girls and young men, who are going to school, middle school, beginning of high school, whatever you want to call it. What could you give them as a suggestion, or trying to talk in their language? How could you communicate with them and give them a way of not going through the negative experiences that you were going through when it happened?
Well, I'm not sure the kind of experiences I went through are very normal. For teenagers these days, it's so much about stress and comparisons and busyness and distractions, it's a different order of the issues that I went were not normal when I had them either. None of the people that I know had them either. So yeah. For teenagers these days, I will mostly focus on what is it that they're actually living every day that is bringing them suffering. And it's this ability to stay quiet is very difficult for them, to just relax in the present moments. And it doesn't need to be long. I'm not asking teenagers to meditate for 30 minutes, and I don't have any pretension of doing that. But just the ability to be quiet for 5 minutes between things, to not reach the phone super fast, the ability to just relax a bit and not freaking out so easily. I'd say that would be very important. And in that sense, practical mindfulness, really, like, can we just sing a song and have fun with that? Our phones far away,
well, there's another aspect too. You mentioned the heart a lot, and that age, 14, 15, 16, those are the ages when people begin to be attracted to one another. Be they, men with men, girls with girls, anyway, boys with girls. Is there anything you could say to them to help them extract from an attraction something that they wouldn't necessarily be looking for in an attraction? Because people at that age, they don't even know what's happening to them,
No, and it's so much hormones as well. So it's they're going through a biological revolution, so to speak. When I think about teenagers, one thing that they have that is beautiful and that we lose as we grow up is our ability to dream. Like, if you ask a teenager, they have dreams, they know exactly what they want, and they have all these possibilities that they can still go so big in whatever they want, know. And that is something that we normally lose a few years after, as we start college and things like that. Like, things that start, like, worlds start shaping us and limiting us much more. So actually, to work with teenagers, I think a beautiful place to begin is nurturing this beautiful aspect that they have of their dreams, and how to support them, that those dreams do not get dissolved, that they don't lose the most beautiful dreams that they will ever have in their lives. You know?
Well, that's a great way to even end on an ending note for adults. Remember your dreams, remember to dream. It was just a pleasure to talk to you. And let me put a plug here for you. Go to her website, look into the notes of this episode. You can find her on her website, Aline Ra M.com, and you'll find things there. She has a YouTube channel with that name and a Facebook page, and her book, Bullshit-Free Mindfulness, 2001, Aline Ra M. Thank you so much, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you for talking to me, Claudia. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow Let's Talk Soul podcast on Instagram. Let's Talk Soul podcast is a production of Electrocast Media. Our executive producers are Mark Netter and Peter Rafelson. If you like our show and like what you hear, please subscribe and give us a rating wherever you enjoy podcasts. And remember, stay curious, stay inspired, and never stop exploring the depths of your soul.
Hi, I'm Leslie Godet, host of Her Extraordinary Life by Design podcast, where we celebrate women who are shaping their lives one extraordinary day at a time. I speak with women from all over the world about what they do and how they are passionately pursuing their dreams and creating meaningful impacts on their communities. So come join us and learn about all there is to learn about these extraordinary women.
Are you passionate about saving the planet for future generations? Do you want to learn how to do it? If yes, then you need to tune in to the Nature Backed podcast. It's a talk show covering the changing world around us. From renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, circular economy, to ESG and social innovation. Don't miss this opportunity to discover how you can join the movement and make a difference. Subscribe to the Nature Backed podcast today on your favorite platform and get ready to be amazed.